It's the Battle of Naboo. I think that's what it's called, with Jar Jar Binks and all of them.
You would
those little freaking things that they ride along.
When the Gungans go out.
Oh yeah, and they got those shields that pop up and everything.
Yeah. And they're grape shot looking things.
Yeah. Matt, what detail do you know about it? Because I've had a look into it and I just remember seeing it vividly when I first watched it. But that battle was.
I feel like
it's not good.
No, the internet is going to flame Stuart for that.
I feel like
it's the best battle.
It's the best battle.
The best battle is with Jar Jar. What is going on, guys, and welcome to Talk Bits. This is a podcast brought to you by the 4-Bit crew. First and foremost, if you have liked, commented, or subscribed, thank you so much. It really does help us out. If you're brand new here, consider doing one of those things. Obviously, guys, it's May. It's Star Wars month. So at 4-Bit, we have decided to have a theme for the whole month. There'll be a Star Wars video dropping every Thursday, other than the last one because there's a cheeky extra Thursday in this month. Game shows, lots of exciting stuff. We just shot our game show, and it was a lot of fun. We had a massive laugh.
Cheating was involved, I think.
Final
round.
No, there was no cheating.
A little bit of cheating.
Nathan actually pulled me aside and said, "Don't mention this on the podcast because they will flame me in the comments."
The only
He
cheating.
said, "I cheated," and Richard doesn't know either.
The only cheating was you at the start. You were cheating at the start.
I did no such thing. Hey, do you remember when that time when he? You'll just have to watch it.
Yeah, just tune in. It's well worth it.
Well, soon.
it's chaos. They're waiting.
It is chaos.
You may or may have not noticed, we have got a very special guest with us today. Quite frankly,
different.
if
Thanks, Stu.
this person, it's all right, Nate. If this person doesn't know it when it comes to Star Wars, it's probably not worth knowing. That's my point of view anyway.
Let's not go
They has a channel called the Jedi In Exile. It will be linked in the description of this podcast, along with all our other Star Wars content. So without further ado, one half of the Jedi In Exile, we've got Matt.
There he is.
Cheers, guys. Let's
go. Matt, thank you so much for
pleasure.
coming down.
Pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Partying with us.
What do you do on your channel, Matt?
Oh yeah, it's a good shout.
So we kind of do a little bit of everything, to be honest. Reaction videos, news videos, reviews, mostly kind of like podcast based. But yeah, if it's Star Wars related, we are probably covering it in some way, shape or form.
I watched your Lego Star Wars videos.
Yeah.
That's all I've watched.
The gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of you play and Brian watching.
Yeah. I mean, it was a weird dynamic, but hey.
If it works, it works.
Exactly.
This first question is a very open question, and I thought it might end up taking up the whole podcast, so I might have to rein us in. And I'm going to start with it aimed at Matt, but we're all going to chip in like we always do. And the question is quite simply, what is it about Star Wars? And what I mean by that is, what is it about Star Wars that one, Matt, you decided to set up a channel that is completely about Star Wars? But not only that, to the other guys, what do you think it is about Star Wars that captivated, quite frankly, the planet? Because it really did. It really has taken over in that sense. And what is it? We'll start with Matt. What do you think it is about Star Wars that made you, we're going to do a channel and it's all Star Wars?
So I guess I've loved Star Wars from a really, really young age.
Yeah.
And Brian and I kind of bonded over it when we were in school. And then he used to phone me on his commute home from work, and we used to chat about it for hours. And it used to be really, really random stuff, right? So it used to be like, oh, what do you think would happen if this person ever met this person? And we would chat about it for about 45 minutes on his drive home, and then he went, we should record this.
It's like an epiphany moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In terms of the actual love for Star Wars, I think it's one of those where there's something for everybody. So obviously the original movies, A New Hope was out 77, and the original trilogy out through the 80s. So that generation, obviously, were kind of captured with those releases. I got into Star Wars through my dad, who watched those when they came out in the cinema, and he showed. I think I watched A New Hope when I was like 4. And then obviously for me, I've got a massive love for the prequels because they were the movies that came out when I was old enough. They were like the first cinematic releases that I could actually go and watch as they came out. But I think in terms of like character diversity, it's got a lot. In terms of theme, everybody loves a good versus evil. Everybody loves rooting for the little guy. So I think it covers all bases, right?
Yeah, and that's why it's probably gained a massive audience.
They're rooting for the little guy. He's whispering in my ear, Yoda.
Robbie's Star Wars knowledge is broad.
Yeah.
He is the little guy.
You're not wrong. So, yeah, awesome. For the rest of the guys here, what do you think about Star Wars? As Matt really covered it, I think if you're into battles and fight scenes, it's got that. If you're into romance, it's got that. If you're into comedy, it's got a bit of that. It has a bit of everything, and it's just so broad. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, let me start, and this one's for the shorts. I think Star Wars sucks.
Yeah.
Clip that. Stop.
He knows how the algorithm works.
Star Trek is better.
Yeah, that'll get him going.
Get clipped. No, Star Wars is fantastic. I think Matt put it in a great way, but it's something that I think a lot of people want to do.
What do you what?
Hear me out.
Are you like thinking about the words that are coming out of your mouth?
Hear me out.
Because you're not making much
Why
sense.
you just went do?
People want to go into space and have a galactic adventure.
I don't.
Right?
Never thought
That
about
sounds
it.
awful.
Really.
Yeah, never
What's
thought about
wrong
that.
with
That
you,
sounds
bro?
scary.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, aliens.
I'm right there with
Is
you.
this just what? Do you don't want to go on have your own like spaceship and go to far off planets and meet some guy that's like Yabaluka Riba and you're like talking about credits and such, you shoot some guy in the face.
But when
and,
you say it like that,
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody. I like to think everybody wants that sort of galactic adventure, and it just portrays it in the best way possible that captured everyone, right? And then obviously, the
Why do you keep
sex
looking at
appeal
me?
as well is really great.
We all thinking it? Jabba?
Jabba
Yeah.
the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Why are
think
you still
Jabba
looking at
really
me?
I think Jabba really turned something inside of me.
Yeah.
But Robbie can actually tell you more about that.
What? How you like me dressing up as Jabba the Hutt?
That's correct.
I knew it.
Yeah. What do you think about Star Wars there, Robbie?
Nathan, what do you think about Star Wars?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Okay. So
There we have it, folks. There we have it.
and
Cool. All right. That's it.
Matt, on this podcast, you may or may not know, and for the viewers at home, we play a game called Closest Wins. We play every single week. We keep score for this month as a separate thing. Richard is flying and is in the lead. He's not in this podcast today. So we're not going to keep the score continuously for this one because it'll be unfair on Richard because he can't score right. So this is going to be just for the Star Wars podcasts. We're going to play Closest Wins. You've got your pens. You've got your whiteboards. Are you ready for the Star Wars Special Edition Closest Wins?
This is a
Double or
terrible.
nothing.
Why are we sat next to each other?
And if you've seen, or once you have seen the game show, you'll realise that the point system is a complete mess, and we just wing it and make up as we go along.
I have no idea what you're on about.
No, okay, guys,
Makes for a great formula.
it does. Just anyone could win at any given
Called
moment.
chaos.
Hopefully, Matt doesn't just know this because that'd be boring, wouldn't it?
That
'Cause
would
he'll
be
just
cringe.
win. This episode of Closest Wins.
This episode.
This. All right, Robbie. Not this
I'll
episode.
do, I'll do. Don't worry
It does
about
the
him.
job.
Don't
It
worry
does the
about
job. Of Closest Wins. How big is a lightsaber? And this includes the handle.
Let me just.
What length?
Let me just
Yeah.
measure against
In
mine.
length.
In length. Let's not be
3
crude.
Okay.
inches.
It includes the handle to the tip of the saber.
And what are we going by? Like meters or feet?
We're going in
Inches?
meters.
Meters.
There is a decimal point.
So
We can do it in centimeters if you want. We can do centimeters if you want. I've written
Well, it's not.
centimeters.
I normally do by feet
inches.
Why?
Because that's what we
because it's
do.
in comparison to somebody's height.
Well,
So you need.
Yeah, Unfortunately,
I
I've
think
got it in-
I think a
I've got it
lightsaber
in-
in comparison to if somebody's 6
If
foot.
I
then
think of my height in meters.
Oh really?
You're hella weird, bro.
No.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Right, I've got my answer. By
well,
the way.
are you going to write it in feet? Because I'll quickly Google feet of what it
Do
is.
it,
if you want.
'cause I
All
will
right, you
put
guys
mine
have a
in feet.
think. Let me.
Wait.
Yeah, you can just do a
No, that's way
conversion.
too high.
So. It's about.
Well, if it's decimal point, we know at least it's over a
I
meter
f-
long.
Do you guys feel like the lightsabers got smaller as the series went on at all?
I don't know. I didn't really
Old
look at the
age does that.
lightsaber length as such.
I feel good about my answer. I always do.
Oh, so yours is in meters.
I don't know if I feel good about my answer.
So who's answering how? Because you've got a meter. There.
I've gone feet,
Let's
gone feet.
confirm.
I'm gonna go feet.
All right. Okay.
including the handle.
the whole
There you go,
thing,
that-
including the handle.
There you go. That's your answer in meters 1.3.
Oh shit, son! I definitely don't feel confident about this.
Oh, well, you want to change it?
What? We're doing it in feet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
What? I've got to change mine to feet.
Yeah,
no,
we're
I'm
doing it
going,
in feet.
I'm
We're
going
doing it in
feet
feet.
in
I'm
inches.
going.
Feet in. Yeah, feet in inches. Feet in
For
inches.
God's sake.
Yeah, I
This is Hike's fault, Nave. Hike wasn't happy
Who would
with
ever,
it.
if you had any long item, you wouldn't think, oh, it's about.
But
4
you're
feet long,
comparing
would
it
you?
to next to
I
someone's body,
compare
aren't
to
you? They're
somebody's
holding it.
body.
I get your thought
So that's
process.
why I'm trying to.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually,
I
this question's horrible.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that like in the older movies they were long. They feel like they were longer.
I also feel like
I think this is
really-
average.
This
So
is
this
really
is what I've-
difficult. Are we talking Darth Maul? Because that's going to be about double.
Well,
Yeah.
We're not talking
Yeah,
Darth Maul.
We're talking Yoda.
Yeah,
It was at the top of the list.
Exactly.
It was
Yeah,
the
no,
average.
it's taller than him.
It was the average. Okay, so we'll go from Hike
Always first.
and we'll go around the circle. Reveal your answers.
That's his favourite.
Same.
Hike's my favourite.
I see.
Yeah. Has to be.
I'm getting to know this now.
Hike's my favourite.
True. 4 foot.
Interesting.
3 foot 6 inches.
That's so
I'm
cringe.
4'5".
Ooh.
Mine's 5'6".
Wow.
So that's as big as a person.
That's as big as
Yep.
like
A
JT,
small
another
person,
one of
yeah.
our friends.
Okay.
Yeah. It's as big as like someone like with some kind of height deficiency order, such as Jacob.
Okay.
Another one of our friends. For those who are not listening, haha, get wrecked.
You're not our friend.
Guys,
That was for Jacob.
Wow.
the correct answer is 3 feet
No, it's
10
not.
inches.
I think I'm closest.
I don't have that.
If you're 4
I'm
foot,
disputing
you're
that.
closest.
I'm 4 foot closest.
I've
Yeah.
gone
4 foot closest.
Google
Nah,
told
bro.
me.
4 foot
I'm the
closest.
quiz master. I'm the quiz
haven't-
Somebody
master.
get in the comments and tell me
He
he's wrong.
takes the top
Imagine
answer
getting
that he
imagine
says,
getting an
doesn't
expert here.
doesn't even
Dude,
fact
so
check.
you know,
This whole thing
12
is
inches to a
shambles.
foot.
Okay. Well, look,
Jack
1.18
wins.
meters.
Jack wins.
3 feet. So Jack wins?
4 foot, baby.
No, 1.18 meters.
Oh, it's like 1.8 me.
1.18 meters is.
Yeah, that's like
yeah.
the same height as me.
I'm so
Maybe
annoyed
it's
that
Darth
these
Maul.
points aren't going towards our
No.
actual point
So
scores.
in terms of
Oh,
Star
what a
Wars,
shame.
Hike is a point.
And he put 6
Maybe there should be double.
But it's a good
Double or
point.
nothing?
Double or
Plus
nothing?
10 points per point?
Yeah, Robbie, what would you do for the scoring this time round? Should we just,
Don't ask
we'll just
me.
wing it? We'll completely make it up.
No, just go 1 point, and then next point 2 points. How many games are there?
Next point wins.
There is another
Next
closest
point-
question.
Next point
everything's
wins.
a
Next
point.
point wins.
Next
Yeah,
point
next
wins.
point wins.
Just add an
Next
extra
point
point to every round.
Why?
Then it gives everyone a chance to win.
Everybody still has a chance. He's probably got like 5.
I've got one more in this.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think we should do
Good
it.
answer.
but there is another podcast this month, right?
There
so
is.
it continues.
There is.
The
There
battle
is.
continues.
Okay.
And that brings me on nicely to my next thing I'd like to talk about. What do you think, or your guys' views on the greatest battle to ever happen in the galaxy?
Ah, yes,
So-
me versus Jack.
And when I ask that question,
Waterloo.
I don't. I don't. It could
What
be.
battle?
It could be like Jedi Sith battle. It could be a big galactic space battle. It could be on a planet.
Inside of Star Wars.
Anything. And it. Yeah.
No.
It could be a duel. I mean, anything. Some sort of battle. What
That
do you reckon?
happened.
I was thinking Trump Biden. That's where Mike's going.
In
keep
Star
politics out.
Wars.
In Star Wars.
In
that,
Star
actually,
Wars.
that actually happened, or we think of this would be a really
No, that
cool
has
battle.
actually happened.
That has actually
That
happened.
you've seen in
okay.
the films. Robbie's not going to be able to answer
Okay,
this.
okay.
Why?
Sorry, Robbie. I thought you'd just be like.
Well, I'll be interested if Matt had an answer that wasn't in the films.
Oh,
But
like-
if he does have an answer, it's fine.
So anything canon like Clone
Anything.
Wars?
yeah.
Okay, I haven't watched that, so
Okay.
Is it right if we use the books as well? Yeah, it's fine. Well, I didn't read them.
I
So.
read Rebels now,
yeah, but I know
it's
Matt has.
I haven't read it. Yes, that's fine.
Well, I mean, I'll start us off with the obvious. I think one of the best lightsaber duels in the entire show was in the third, episode 3, between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Okay.
You know, you turned her against me.
Yeah.
You did that to yourself,
Classic.
or whatever, you know. Like,
Classic.
and then on Mustafar with all the fire and everything, and it's so long, right? And it's the score is going insano mode. It's probably one of the best
That's up there for
in
you.
terms of that. I mean, that's got to be right.
That's the winner.
It's hard to get past that for me in terms of a one-on-one lightsaber duel.
Okay.
That is very
The thing
cool.
that's crazy about that is, like, when it was choreographed so well. The scene where they're in the control room and they're both spinning the lightsabers round each other and not actually like fighting, was done because it was supposed to be that they both knew each other so well and how each other fought so well that essentially they didn't need to clash lightsabers because they knew what each other were going to do.
That's cool.
It's just mental.
sense.
Yeah,
Such a good
I've
fight.
heard somebody say that before. It's like that wasn't just like flair. It was like they knew each other so well that they were like, they didn't need to even clash a lightsaber at that point or something like that. Yeah, oh god, so good. That like even the story behind it,
Yeah.
something like. What about you?
Which book are we citing
time
from?
I just
Which
turned-
book are we
You know what?
citing from?
I obviously haven't read
Book
any
3.
books.
You know when Chewbacca gets a lightsaber? Chewbacca's son, actually. Look it up.
Nephew.
Sorry, thank you.
Big Lowbacker.
That's what Matt
Big
said.
Lowbacker.
He tried. He
I'm
did-
here.
he did
I'm
a
here
bit
to
of
fact
research.
check.
I did
I'm
try.
here
He
to
did a
fact
bit of
check,
research
guys.
and tried to
Fact
get
check.
some things in.
No, I didn't do research. I've seen that.
He definitely did.
What color was his lightsaber? Green? Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Anyway, hit us up, bro. I know you're in the pocket with him. I think you've got 3. Or if not, we can go somewhere else cooler than you.
Unlikely.
Okay.
I like at the end of the Mandalorian season 2, when they find the secret base of who's the bad guy called again?
Moff Gideon.
Yeah, and all the jetpack people come and they all chase them.
Spoilers, just in case.
It's too late now.
It's been a couple of years.
You never know.
Yeah, and it's pretty epic with Grogu there. And
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
was that when they were in the spaceship and then they're like getting surrounded by droids or something? The black droids and
That's when Luke comes.
When Luke
So that's
comes.
Season 2, right?
Yeah.
Season 3, you're talking where Paz Vizsla sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he the guy with the big machine gun?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, who
Gotcha.
who's when the Mando saved his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's sick. I mean, yeah, that was.
This is the way.
This is the way.
What about Matt? I'm interested to hear this one.
I'll be honest, so I'm going to be really boring in regards to I am going to keep it in the movies.
Fair.
I think the end of the Phantom Menace, the Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Maul fight, Duel of the Fates, I think the score, absolutely incredible.
Yep.
I think when you take the context of that fight in terms of, it's called Duel of the Fates, and actually everybody thinks that the light side won because Obi-Wan killed Maul. But actually, when you look into it, the dark side won that battle because Qui-Gon was removed from the picture. So when you look at the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan, they have a brotherly relationship. So Obi-Wan really struggles to kind of keep Anakin at bay.
My brother Anakin.
Exactly. Whereas Qui-Gon, I think if we were to do a Star Wars what if, essentially would have had the more fatherly figure and probably would have prevented Anakin from turning.
Okay.
And so I think purely for the kind of the consequences and the fallout, that and the fact that it's just a sick ass fight.
And
right?
you can see it in that scene. I love that because like people dump on the first ones, 1, 2, and 3 or whatever, but they hit so well because Qui-Gon. I loved it. That Qui-Gon will be waiting there, sitting as those things are closed, right? Darth Maul's pacing, hitting the thing, trying to get past it, and then Obi-Wan's like quite impatient as well, rushing to try and get to Qui-Gon. But it's like Qui-Gon's like clearly a master, and Obi-Wan's not trained to be. He's still not like perfected his
He's still got his
class.
Padawan braid, right? So he's still a Padawan at the
Exactly, yeah. So to then have to teach Anakin, he's not. As Matt said, the what if would be if Qui-Gon survived, everything would. Anakin would have never gone to the dark side.
Could you imagine? And we are going to really quickly, before you hear about
who'd
mine and
become
Nate's
Darth
favourite
Vader?
battle, mull over that for a second because we need to catch it for a real quick break, okay? So come straight back, have a think about that one, and think about what mine and Nate's favourite Star Wars battle could be. We'll be right back. What's the uncle called? Is it him?
He's the uncle gangster.
Don't know.
Gangster?
I'm out of my depth.
Yeah, did you see what happened? Did you see what happened to us?
No.
We have technical difficulties. They hit it too hard.
Hit it too hard.
Run the clip.
There is only 5 points left to grab in the final round.
But isn't it double?
I think it's double
or nothing. Double or nothing.
Do you know what?
Double or nothing.
If you want to lose that badly, it's double or nothing.
Yay! That means you lose all the points if you get it wrong.
You know, I heard Obi-Wan Richobi is hosting a Top Trump Star Wars game near Tatooine.
We're in a galaxy far, far away. We might not make it. Punch it.
We've got past force factor, we're back to height.
Yeah.
So, at a towering 2.02 metres.
Lower.
Lower?
It's got to be lower.
I hope so.
It's got to be.
Yes!
Yes!
We're back to Salacious Crumb.
His brothers.
Yes! Alright. So, for brains, Stewie,
Yeah.
do you think higher or lower than a 9?
Higher. Lower. Guys, welcome back to Talk Bits. This is the podcast brought to you by the 4-Bit crew, and we were just discussing Star Wars battles, and Nate's going to give us a quick point of view in terms of what his favourite one is.
I can't remember what film it's from, but where Anakin's flying the little red thing. I don't know the names of the ships, but the one that's like, you know, shaped like that thing, and it's got like a bulbous thing in the middle. What's that called?
The LAT gunship.
Clone Wars.
In Clone, the small,
Clone
Little
Wars.
ones.
He's
the
talking.
Jedi. The Jedi Starfighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's red with the grey strips.
Yeah,
down the
yeah,
side.
yeah.
They're cool ships.
Jedi Starfighters. Whichever battle that he's fighting in that one.
Are they the ones that fly around the
No,
walkers?
are
You're
you
saying
just
Clone
fun?
Wars.
Are you thinking at the very start of the movie?
Yeah.
So he's thinking Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah,
the battle
that's
over
right.
Coruscant, where they go after Grievous.
Yeah, that sounds right. I haven't actually watched this film that we're talking about in like over 10 years.
Wait,
That's why I
thought
can't remember very well.
I thought the start of Revenge of the Sith was Count Dooku on ship.
Yeah, but they, him and Obi-Wan fly in, don't they?
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's before they get to Dooku. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But this before all that, it's just a fun fight.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I remember. I don't
What-
remember
oh,
specifics.
With the
What's the line? What? This is where the fun begins.
yeah, with the buzz droids and stuff, where they're on the ship and he like knocks them off.
Because when they land in the Empire ship, he like crashes in, doesn't he, and skids in.
Yeah.
And they jump.
Oh, yeah. It jumps out.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's later in that scene as well, where then everything like starts to go on its side, and then you get the whole. It's that bit.
Yeah.
It's just a fun part of Star Wars.
No, it is, and it definitely massively shows off that Obi-Wan, Anakin, like, again, brother dynamic, right?
Yeah, because he's doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a
like,
rebel.
He's supposed to respect his master, and he
Just
definitely
doing what
does
he
not.
wants.
Yeah.
My one, and I just
Wookiees.
remember the what? Sorry,
Wookiees.
No. Mine.
Babies.
It's the Battle of Naboo. I think that's what it's called, with Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And all of them.
You would say
Those
that.
little freaking things that they ride along.
when the
them.
Gungans go out.
Oh yeah, and they got like those shields that pop up and
Yeah.
everything.
And they're grape shot looking things.
Yeah. Matt, what detail do you know about it? Because I've had a look into it, and I just remember seeing it vividly when I first watched it. But that battle was.
I feel
It's not
like
good. It's not a good one. Is it?
No, the internet is gonna
Matt,
the
no.
internet is gonna
I think
flame
it's a bad
Stuart
answer.
for that.
It's the best battle.
It's
Okay?
the
The best battle.
The best battle is the Jar Jar.
The droids barely move in the animation in that film, mate.
It's
Like,
Don't have to.
I feel like everybody had you got Marmite relationship with Jar Jar, right? People
Yeah,
that
yeah.
absolutely love him or absolutely hate him. I think if you like Jar Jar, it's probably a good battle because it gives you the comic relief that you don't get in some of the others. I wouldn't put it up there as a top just
Brilliant.
because of the
brilliant.
just because of the action. But bro, it's your opinion. You do what you want. It's your channel.
Even if it's wrong.
Matt, have you heard about the Jar Jar Binks Sith theory?
Yeah, Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Pulling all the
what's-
strings.
yeah.
It is confirmed.
What's that about?
Confirmed.
Is it?
Well, there's a theory. Well, you know it more, I guess. But
So basically, the premise is that like Jar Jar was the one who granted Chancellor Palpatine the emergency powers, or sorry, put forward the motion in the Senate for Chancellor Palpatine to get the emergency powers, which essentially then allowed the Clone Wars to happen and everything that Palpatine had planned to happen. So the premise is that Jar Jar is actually the secret Sith Lord, and he's pulling all of the strings. and he's actually the mastermind behind the entire plan.
Behind everything.
Yeah, and there's small points as well. There's a point in a film where he does this. When he says
Does what?
something, he does this.
The old
When he
Jedi
says
mind
something.
trick. The
Yeah.
mind trick.
Yeah, and the fact that his eyes are the exact
Sith
same
yellow.
color as the
Sith
Sith.
yellow.
You said that earlier.
Yeah,
I think.
I said
when we were
when we were
doing
doing a game show. Yeah, I was like, "There's a Sith," because that's kind of a running theory online. Yeah.
What other like cool theories are there that spring to mind, Matt, or anybody? Are there
Yeah.
any quick ones that you think that's kind of cool or a bit weird or?
I'm trying to think like if there's anything kind of a bit out there and a bit crazy that that kind of, I mean, the whole kind of Anakin's birth into the Force.
Midichlorians.
Yeah, exactly, the midichlorians. So the premise is that it's like an immaculate conception, right? So there was no dad.
Yeah.
But the premise is, and a lot of people probably miss this if they don't go and venture out into the wider kind of mediums. But the big kind of thing is that Darth Plagueis, who is famous from the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, the kind of, I think the theory is that he found a way to manipulate the midichlorians and essentially created Anakin, knowing that he was going to be the one to like overturn the Jedi and bring the Sith out and start the Imperial rule. Like that, I don't think has ever been confirmed. The Darth Plagueis novel isn't even canon anymore, so it's part of the old Legends universe. But I think, obviously, Darth Plagueis exists. He's referenced in the movies, but I think that's one that you'll find quite a lot of support online for.
Yeah.
In terms of that's probably what happened.
How annoyed were you about, or if you were annoyed or not, that Darth Plagueis wasn't the big bad in the newer movies?
So,
because I wanted that to come full circle.
yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where, again, having been somebody that read a bunch of the Legends books, I feel like people are missing out. I'm not telling everybody to go out and read hundreds of hours worth of books because they're not classed as canon anymore. But 100%, like, that to me would have made so much more sense than what we actually got. Now, I totally get that in all the series that we've got going on at the moment, they're trying to join some dots. They're trying to say that everything's going to make sense. Because I feel like there are a lot of unanswered questions from the sequels. But yeah, I think that 100%, the fact that he's referenced in the movies, it makes so much sense to just go, yep, he found a way to live.
Yeah, that Darth Plagueis found a way to live, and he was the one pulling the strings in the sequels beyond Palpatine. You know, like I guess Palpatine doing it is something, but I feel like that would have been a nicer connection. But I guess the problem is that it was supposed to maybe also cater to new people to the series. So it's like if they haven't seen the older films, they'll be like, "Who's Darth Plagueis?" But then, good filmmaking, they can just talk about Darth Plagueis in the start of the first movie.
It also 100%, like from a business point of view, makes sense because it then says to people, go watch the other movies. Yeah. Go watch the other movies and find out. Read the books. Do those things. Yeah, 100%. I think that would have been so much better.
Yeah. And the thing is with Star Wars as well is that there's like an infinite pool that they could just go forever. Like I don't have massive knowledge on it, but one thing I can tell is that you could just write and go forever with Star Wars. Like I couldn't find a way that they'd have to hit a particular ending and be like, right, we're never going to do anything else.
They've announced the movie with Daisy Ridley, right? That's going to be the rebuilding of the Jedi Order.
Okay.
So set after Episode 9. All the books, comics, and audio books and stuff that they've brought out that cover the High Republic era, which is a long time before the prequels. Like they have this entire timeline that they can basically go, we're just going to add anything we want to it.
Yeah.
And look what they did with The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
So Mandalorian Season 1 didn't even need to have any kind of cameos, any other characters in it. It was literally, we're going to do a standalone thing set in exactly the same timeline as the main Star Wars saga. If they hadn't ever wanted to link anything in, it's a massive universe, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. Robbie's, I can hear you
I
thinking.
thought The Mandalorian was like in between
Yes,
The-
it's set during like
But like
so it's
between the third film and the fourth film.
no.
No?
So the Mandalorian is set around the time of the end of the original trilogy into the sequel.
Yes,
trilogy.
that's it. Sorry, Luke. Yeah, I got. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, yeah, 'cause Luke.
yeah,
Yeah.
comes in. Yeah. But young
Ashoka
Luke.
threw me off, I guess, then.
in timelines.
Yeah. Because
So-
she's like, I would have thought she'd be way older.
So
She's Anakin's.
Because she's Anakin's Padawan.
Yeah.
yeah, she's really young during Clone Wars
Clone
and
Wars.
all of that sort of stuff. And then obviously you get the if people have seen Rebels, like Rebels is obviously set around the start of A New Hope, and you see kind of some crossover around that, and she's an adult during that time. But there isn't that much of a jump, and I believe that the Mandalorian is set post Episode 6 because it's after the downfall of the Empire, hence it being kind of the beginnings of the First Order and all of that sort of stuff. So it kind of makes sense in terms of timelines for that. But yeah, I mean, she ages pretty well, right?
It could be a species though.
Hey-ho.
You know, easy.
How do you feel about this whole concept of these new movies being about doing the whole Jedi Order again? Because isn't the whole point that the Jedi's had too much power, right? The whole they should have been called down to, I'm on the side of the bad guys
I can
apparently.
tell you're a Sith.
But it's just a continuous cycle because like the old Republic, there was like loads of Jedi's and loads of Sith or whatever, and it's just this constant battle. And now just going to build the Jedi Order again.
So I think it's an interesting one based on the fact that there were the Jedi had failings, right? That's what Luke noticed. It was strange. Brian and I on the channel critiqued the way that Luke was portrayed during the Mandoverse episodes where Grogu went to kind of train under him, because Grogu was given the choice with having no attachments and all of that sort of stuff. And actually, that feels really out of character for Luke, based on the fact that he recognized that the Jedi had failings, and that's why the Order kind of was managed to be pretty much wiped out. But I'm interested to see what they do with this, just purely based on, again, going back to the Legends books, there was an entire series set up called the New Jedi Order, which was Luke essentially restarting the Jedi Order. And taking on all these students. Chewbacca's nephew was one of them.
Hey,
big low backer. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that works. I think the one thing that people are going to have to realize is that Rey has very little knowledge of the Jedi Order, right? Because at that point they were legends.
Yeah.
And then Luke burned all of the Jedi texts.
Yeah, right.
So there is no reference. She
No.
can do what she wants with it.
Yeah.
So you don't know whether she's going to take it in this brand new direction. So it'll be interesting to see.
She's
But
gonna
yeah,
be
I
the
think
next
you're,
Sith.
I think you're right.
Calling it now.
The whole Chosen One prophecy is based on the fact that bringing balance to the Force means for as many good side users as there are, there should be dark side users.
Yeah, balance.
That's balance.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
balance.
And
yeah.
therefore,
Maybe the Jedi are evil.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm throwing out so many
Anakin said it.
lines
Anakin said it.
today.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because they're going to have to introduce some form of villain to that. So does that mean we're going to see some Sith offshoot?
Wouldn't it be sick if Big Low Backer, what's his name, was the new
Big Bad.
the big bad? It's a freaking Wookiee,
That'd be amazing.
Sith Wookiee. Maybe it's not going to
With an
be a
Ewok
Sith.
as
Well,
a.
it could not be a Sith.
What is bad in the universe of Star Wars that isn't a Sith?
Prices.
Jar Jar.
Very expensive.
Credits are just so high.
The conversion rate is awful.
Rogue traders and pirates.
Yeah, exactly.
The Trade Federation, just blockading planets left, right, and
Blockade
centre,
it,
right?
yeah. You know what we should do today? Block a planet.
Yeah.
Why not?
We're going to do a quick spin and twist to something. We're going to tangent off. We're still in Star Wars mode, obviously, but we're going to have a quick tangent off. Matt, how many Death Stars were there? Genuinely. How many? Because there isn't just one, is there?
So there's two Death Stars.
Yeah.
Officially.
Yeah.
Somebody fact check me in the comments.
Yeah.
Two Death Stars officially.
Yeah.
The first one that blows up at the end of A New Hope.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
on my
the-
notes anyway.
and then the one that blows up at the end of Empire.
Yeah.
No, not Empire. Return of the Jedi. Sorry.
But number 3 is just the third trilogy.
Yeah.
It's just another Death
Oh
Star.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, it's
just a big
it's
Death
three
Star.
planets.
Yeah, one
planet.
It's not a Death
No,
Star.
so
Planet destroyer.
it's the planet, isn't it? That essentially they use as a Death Star. It has the massive cannon. It can blow up planets. Like
Yeah.
You can blow up multiple, can't it?
Yeah, it can
Whereas
do
Death
multiple
Star
things.
could
Yeah,
only
yeah,
do
yeah.
one.
it was essentially the Death Star on crack.
So you use
Like-
the core
That
of
was
the
a super Death Star.
Yeah.
And the only reason I ask is because maybe I'm being a bit naive with it, and some people out there will be. But I like Star Wars, I do. But I always thought it was just one Death Star. Like, without sounding stupid, I just thought of the Death Star.
I'll
I
be
didn't
honest.
think there
Like
was...
for originality, the Empire don't really hit it. Right?
Yeah, no, they just do it again.
Yeah. You know what was good? The Death Star.
Yeah. Do it again with a 2 on the end.
So if somebody's gone, make sure we block up that exhaust port, please.
Yeah.
Please.
We
Well,
don't want that happening again.
Was the second Death Star they built from the ruins of the first?
Yeah. No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
No. They just
So
had
it's a
their
fresh
first
build.
one.
I
It
don't
got
think so.
destroyed, and then they tried again. And
Yeah.
then that was it.
Without the exhaust pipe.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
they like said something about that.
Well, so the exhaust pipe
That was second, wasn't
it was set up in Rogue One, right? So Jyn Erso's dad deliberately put it into the designs so that there was a vulnerability, so that somebody could take it down.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. See, that's something I didn't know as well. That's awesome. Did you know?
Rogue One's
Yeah, I
great.
did.
Rogue One is one of those films where everybody is like, fantastic film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should.
I think
I,
it's-
so I'll be honest,
presume you
Darth
haven't
Vader
seen
at
Rogue
the
One.
start.
I don't think
Or
I
the
have.
I
seen Rogue One.
slated it. The first time I ever watched it, I slated it. I
Really?
really struggled with it. And actually, it's been such a massive grower on me because I think it's one of those, if you like war movies, it's just a war movie set in the Star Wars universe. It's not a Star Wars movie. It's a war movie
this
set
is
in the
what I
Star
was about
Wars
to say.
universe.
The good thing about Rogue One, from the less Star Wars fan demographic, is that anyone, without watching any other Star Wars film, can watch Rogue One. And
Yeah,
enjoy it.
100%.
That's awesome.
I think that's what make them good. I think that's where they should go with Star Wars. Instead of continuing this main story, I think the main story should have just ended with the whole Rey stuff, right? And then the films that people seem to like and the shows that people seem to like are things that are just set in their favorite universe. The thing's massive. Why do you have to follow this one storyline throughout the entire thing?
Yeah.
There are things here, things there. I want to see more stuff about like rogue traders and that sort of stuff, really. That's
Yeah.
my thing.
What's interesting about it though is that the more they go, the more that they're leaning into doing that kind of thing. When you really think about it, there's not many other franchises that do that.
Yeah.
Like, there's actually not many. Like, I know it's more common now, but like, it all kind of. If you any franchise I can think of, I can make an argument for how it always links back to their main story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
Whereas Star
Like
Wars
Marvel, right?
doesn't do that. Ahsoka has references to it, but it doesn't focus on it.
They're all interlinked, though.
They are interlinked. So when I watched the Ahsoka series, my parents sat and watched it, and I told them, "Oh, if you really want to enjoy it, you need to go watch 7 series of Clone Wars, 3 series of Rebels. Like, you know, you need to have seen everything." And I think if you want to be a diehard fan and you want to consume it in the way that Dave Filoni has designed this entire universe to be consumed, 100% go and do that. But I also know that they did not go and do that, and they absolutely loved it. And I think that is the point, right?
I didn't.
There are nods to all of these other bits, but you 100% can follow the story without knowing any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's actually probably quite clever in how they've done that, and how they've done it in such a way where die-hard fans can really get deep with it, and how brand new fans don't have to get deep with it but still enjoy it.
I know people that The Mandalorian was the first Star Wars entry.
Yeah,
they
which
ever
is-
watched.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is awesome, really.
I feel like
Western.
I feel like you can make the same argument for Ahsoka that you could watch nothing at all. I'd say you're best to at least have watched the prequels, but other than that, I don't
don't
think
need
it's
that for
really
the
too
And you
important.
didn't like Ashoka or whatever.
I did.
Oh.
I thought
you
Ahsoka
said
was
you
brilliant.
did. Oh.
I preferred it to Mandalorian.
Because I didn't like, the one I didn't like was Andor.
Oh,
I
Andor's
haven't
great.
watched it.
I couldn't
Andor's
I couldn't
fantastic.
finish it.
I'm going to get slated in the comments.
I
'cause
I
didn't
don't like Boba Fett,
Okay.
the series for that.
Well, he's not
the
in
Book
that.
of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the least memorable one for me. I don't remember what happened.
I
Mandalorian
only
season
watched-
2.5.
only watched the first episode and I couldn't get
Why
through
are
it.
you going to get slated in the comments?
I'm going to get slated in the comments because I enjoyed Andor. I really enjoyed Andor.
Andor's brilliant.
But I described it as gritty. And
Oh, okay.
genuinely, all over Star Wars Twitter, I'm finding my niche here. All over Star Wars Twitter, it was, if I hear one more person describe Andor as gritty, I'm going to lose my mind. Because that was all anybody said about it. But I said the one thing that I loved about it was, again, don't have to have watched anything else for it to make sense.
Yeah.
Nods to Star Wars fans, like, all throughout it. But also, it made it real. So people watch A New Hope and go, oh, there's this rebellion, it's class, like it already exists. And people watch Revenge of the Sith, and it finishes with them like looking out the window, the Death Star starting to get built and all of that sort of stuff. But it really showed like the whole. This is gonna sound really nerdy. That's what I'm here for. Like there was a bit where I was like, when you think about a rebellion, don't think about the fact that it needs to be financed. And like one of the episodes goes on about how Mon Mothma is essentially like skimming money to feed to the rebellion. And
That's cool.
You know, like. It's things that you just don't really think about.
Yeah.
And it made it feel real. It made it feel like it gave context to the rest of the Star Wars fight to kind of say, this could actually happen.
It really tried to focus in on the characters that don't normally get stories told. Especially from the point of view of the Empire. I can't remember, it's been so long since I've watched it, I can't remember his name or anything, but the guy who they focus on early in the series, I can't remember his name. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know
the one who's like some kind of manager.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy who essentially tries to chase down Andor.
Yeah,
He's like the police officer.
That side of Andor is the best bit of the whole thing, in my opinion. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's just it's kind of like Star Wars from the perspective of the working class. But that's what Andor feels like to me.
I think
it's just like really, really cool.
I think because it came out weekly, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's what made me like.
You should start from the beginning again, and you should finish it because I back it.
I'd rather see it as a continuous story because it sounds really good. But when I saw it weekly, I wasn't getting it.
I think some of the episodes were slow. Some of the episodes were slow.
Yeah.
And we said that in our review that essentially that it felt very much like it was kind of build up episodes, something happened. Build up episodes, something happened, and that was pretty much the story of the series. I think they released the first 2 episodes as like a premiere double-header type thing, which they needed to do because the first episode was like an incredible amount of just setup and not a lot happening. Yeah. But like Nate said, like the only character really, so Mon Mothma features in it. We know a little bit about her. She's in some of the other bits of media that you can consume. But other than that, it was only really Andor that we had seen anywhere else. So they had to set something up because they had to provide context as to what was going on, right? So you're going to get that in the show. But definitely, I think if you go back and watch it as one, binging it, you'll probably get more payoff.
And hopefully that's helped some people out there watching. So if you felt the same as Hype, go back, give it another go, right? Guys, it's closest wins time. So whiteboard's at the ready. We're reining it
I
back.
forgot we had another one coming up.
Well, you guys were riffing, and I just let the riff happen because it was good. We're going back round to the Death Star. So I brought it up for a reason.
Oh, here we
There's
go.
2.
Yeah, which one are we talking about?
There's 2. We're talking about Death Star 1.
Okay.
Death Star 1.
Not like that is going to help you with the answer.
No,
at all.
no.
It will. Trust me.
I would like to know, in kilometres,
Oh God, circumference. Oh no.
Jeez.
I would like to
I
know
researched this.
the
Did you actually?
circumference.
It's the size of a
that
moon.
is that, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Small moon.
In kilometres of Death Star 1.
In kilometers.
That's crazy stuff, innit? Catching everyone off guard.
That's a mental question, mate.
Yes.
Do you know what the worst thing about...
I'm gonna get it so right.
Do you know what the
Don't say, can we do it in miles?
Do you know what the worst thing about this is?
What?
Like, I've written an answer that could either be tiny or huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there is
Well, when
is
I-
no...
do you know- When
I think that's quite huge.
When I asked...
Yeah, I think that is quite huge. Yeah.
When I was
feel
coming
like
up
the
with these
Death Star was quite
questions,
huge.
I had Matt in mind because I didn't want the questions to be where they could like, where Matt would just instantly know. So I tried
Right.
to make them answer.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
don't know
fair.
how high to
If
go.
I may,
I was hoping for what year did
Yeah.
A New Hope release?
Yeah.
if I may open this up for
It's still
discussion,
bloody
yeah.
big,
Do
but
we
it's like
think,
nothing compared to
just
the,
me and you, do we think that this Death Star was bigger than the Earth? That's what I'm kind of go to in my head.
I'm
right now.
going to
I
go
don't-
with my first.
I don't think it
I'm going
is.
to go with my first. I think this is too small, but I'm going to go with my
There were a lot
first.
of people on it, bro.
There were, but they're inside.
Yeah, it's
We can't go
circumference.
inside the Earth.
And it's and it's circumference.
The lizard,
right?
the lizard
It's not
people
like it's-
would beg to differ.
The whole circle.
Yeah.
The circumference. That might be
Was it a
quite high.
perfect sphere?
Yeah, it was.
Robbie.
Measure it.
Measure it now.
Measure it.
Measure the circumference.
Right, I've got my
In kilometers.
So I've got my number. It might be
I've done mine
conservative.
in miles. Is that okay?
I knew you were going to do that. I said
Can I do mine in feet and inches?
And again, I've got this answer from the internet. It came up right near the top, and I looked in, and it's been consistent.
Bro,
okay?
the comments will be the first
It's been
ones to tell you
consistent.
that's wrong.
Comments, let me know.
Actually,
yeah.
it's
There's a theme that you're
47.2.
missing here. We don't get comments.
yeah.
We don't have to worry about them.
I feel like maybe I should knock a 0 off that.
Yeah, if you're.
It's hard to say.
Yeah,
hold on, I wouldn't.
we don't get
No, I'm
comments
going
here, so prove us right or wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
Hype. Go on, hype.
Let us know in the comments if we get comments.
What?
500k.
Right.
Yeah, you did
Cool.
go high. If I've briefed you-
126,000.
1,000. Wow, that's big.
That's what
Go
you
on.
do.
I
Oh,
got
wait, was I meant to-
150k.
Okay.
75.
75k.
I think I've got way too small.
No. The answer that the internet tells me, and lots of other websites have said similar ranges,
Yeah.
140 to 160 kilometres.
Oh, looks like I win,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, so
Wait, I went
140 to 160.
look, and I did check in a lot of places to make
Jeez,
sure.
that's
I didn't mean to add
tiny,
the-
bro.
Small moon.
I tell you where you check. Wikipedia. Shout out.
I think it
Wikipedia.
was on Wikipedia.
Wait,
I nearly
140 to 160?
Yeah, not K. Just 140 to 160.
Yeah,
bro.
I nearly put 126, and then
Oh.
I,
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
then I
Yeah.
spied his, and
I
he
thought
had
it was
3
huge.
Yeah,
zeros
my
at the
500
end.
kilometers was close.
Luke was on that trench run for a long time.
No.
Look, we're leaving it as that.
No.
We'll,
Until I saw you guys.
have a look.
Somebody check the average speed
Have-
of an X-wing,
have
and
a
then
look.
somebody time how long Luke took for the trench run.
Actually, if you find that in New Hope,
Whoa.
he was in the X-Wing for 37 seconds.
While Nathan's doing his research,
Yeah,
Um,
that looks.
If Wikipedia
Somehow
said it, bro, it's probably true.
look, I'm just yeah.
Put the
Look,
extra zeros in.
I know.
I'd have won.
You would have.
before we wrap this bad boy up,
Mad.
talk to me about tech in the galaxy. So this is again,
Tekken?
it's tech, not Tekken. We've done that already.
Well, the guys just sitting having like
fight.
fighting each other
Yeah.
on the Millennium Falcon in the back room. Just
Taken.
Matt, what do you think in the whole of Star Wars would you say the coolest, neatest, wickedest bit of tech is? Think of anything as well. So don't just think lightsabers and spaceships and all that sort of stuff.
There's only one.
Like,
right
I've got
answer.
one.
What? Okay, Robbie, go on.
Holograms.
Just
I
in
like
general.
Holograms pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
messaging through
Holograms are
that.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've got an answer that you're not thinking to say, which is always the right answer.
Go on.
Oh, lightsaber.
Droids.
Droids.
Oh,
I was going to say droids,
droids.
so you've got mine.
I
got-
was
it's
going to
gotta be
say a
droids.
joke answer, which was that little black box droid on the floor. That
Oh,
just-
that runs about. Yeah.
the mouse droid.
He has
Who
a
knows
droid.
what it does?
The mouse-
Who knows what that
Clean.
does?
What does it do?
I have no
think
clue.
they-
Yeah. Not even Matt knows what that does.
I ain't got a clue.
I think they're just cleaners. They just go around cleaning up the floor.
Just cleaning.
No, they just like act surprised when they see people.
yeah.
And then they shoot off quick,
Yeah.
don't they? Yeah.
I think we should free the droids. To be honest.
Yeah.
Do they
agreed.
get
Do
a
they
say
get rights?
in having to clean the floor?
I don't know.
Is there
Hashtag
a
No, they
droid
probably just get
Yeah,
Hashtag droid
rights.
rights.
They just get programmed for that.
Oh.
I'd imagine.
How many languages can C-3PO speak as well?
Hell a lot.
Hell a lot. But he doesn't speak Sith.
No.
Well, he does. He's just not allowed to tell you.
Oh,
Uh,
Matt, what's yours?
Yeah, what's your favorite
so
bit of tech? Yeah.
I think the rebreather things that the Jedi, a lot of the
they're
Jedi
cool.
have. So like when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan go to the Gungan City.
yeah.
That is quite cool,
Um,
but it's also quite boring.
Yeah, it is. The other thing the other thing that I like is like some of the food stuff is mad. So
Oh, they got the little biscuit things.
like it so in yeah
really little biscuit things. They're cool.
in Force Awakens, like Rey has an entire meal that like starts out tiny and then expands, and they did like that was actually real.
That's crazy.
They made that
Wow.
rather than it being special effects,
Galaxy
which is
tech.
mad.
Maybe in Pod 2, when that comes round,
Pod 2? You
In
mean
Pod-
episode 9?
Episode 9, Star Wars Pod 2.
Yeah.
That makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We know what you
We'll
meant.
go more into the tech. But on
Yeah.
that note, guys, we've had Matt. We've loved having him, and he will be back every single week this month. So make sure you come and check it out. This has been Talk Bits. See you on the next one.
Thank you.
See you later.
Love you.